This, my friends, is the sound of me breathing a huge sigh of relief because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get all this lovely mohair into tomorrow's update. I'm sure we're all experiencing different shortages due to the situation right now, and I was quite surprised that I am having a hard time getting my recycled label paper that I normally use. So for this batch of yarn, I had to go with a different paper for my labels, but it's still lovely. So here it is, and I have to say it's been a little bit nail biting, a little stressful, but it's all ready for tomorrow's update. So I know a lot of you were asking about this. It's the Mohair Luxe yarn that comes from the local Angora goat farm near my home. So I brought you down today into the garden to just show you the colors that I have available. And you can probably hear my grandson in the background. You'll probably hear some cicadas and some water flowing, and maybe we'll even get a little tour in the garden. So we have here marigold and logwood. And actually, if I just pan up a little bit, there's a few of my marigolds, and I will tell you, we might as well keep it real. My garden is quite overgrown. We had a big storm here a couple of days ago with a lot of hail, so I've got some things knocked over. Oh, these ones over back in here are some of my favorites. There's some thistles. So we had marigold and logwood, and then the next one is comfrey. And if I zoom up without moving too quickly through the garden, you know what, maybe we'll go and have a walk up and look at the comfrey in a minute. I think it's going to zoom a bit too much. But the comfrey comes from a couple of patches around the garden. Marigold and iron again. Yeah, that I showed you the marigolds. If I zoom around too much, I think we'll be moving a little too much in the video. Perfect Storm and Eastern Brazilwood and Chestnut. So Eastern Brazilwood will often give me shades of pink. Sometimes I get reds, or depending on what I do with it. But this one, I put a little bit of chestnut in just to kind of tone that pink down a little bit, and it is not brown, it definitely is a pink, but just to kind of deepen that pink a little bit, warm it up. And then the last one we have here is chamomile, and actually coincidentally we're right beside one of my patches of chamomile. Yeah, this is sort of the regular standard chamomile, and then over on the other side of the garden through there, I'm not sure if you can see that, there's some German chamomile I tried this year, which also is really beautiful, just not quite as large. So there we have it. Well, there's some basil, and I will dye with my basil later in the season too. Once I get all the basil that I want for cooking in the kitchen, I'll do some dyeing with basil. And then in there's some lemon balm, and just beyond it there is some, gosh, the name's escaping me, but something else that's just about finished. And just over here we have, and if I bring you down in here with me, you'll see a lot of yellow beans or wax beans, and you can see these plants are knocked over a little bit because of the hail we had, but they're still great. They're still doing really well, the yellow beans. And what else have we got right in front of me here? We've got some yarrow just starting, and some dill, which is completely falling over here. Some big dill heads. That again is because of the hail that we had. But I plant a lot of dill around the garden, but it also just kind of comes back up on its own. I plant dill for obviously using as dill and cooking, but I also like it for the swallowtail butterflies like it. And then just right beside me here in the garden, and again it's quite knocked over in the center, you can see from all that hail, we have tansy, and I wish you could smell this. It smells amazing in the garden, and tansy is one of my favorite yellows. I love everything about tansy, but what I really like about tansy is I dry it, and then when I dye with it in the winter, the house smells amazing. It smells like summer. So that's it. I think I'm up at about 5 minutes now. I just wanted to come and do a really quick little chat with you. If I pan up, you can see my garlic. Doesn't look so great right now, but it's supposed to look like that. It's ready for me to, I'm gonna finish all my garlic harvesting this weekend. And there's a patch of rhubarb and some tomatoes, just one little spot in the garden. There's some morning glories that just kind of came up by themselves. That's not such a pretty picture, but that's my clothesline, and back over there you can see one of the composters, and that's actually this big, let's see if I can pan up without moving too fast. This big archway here is covered with hops, and there's some big tall grass there. So yeah, I just wanted to bring you out today to the garden and tell you that I'm very happy, very relieved to let you know that all of these colors, again, I dyed 6 colors, again, and I dyed, again, lots of each color, so there's sweater quantities of each color. But this, if you're not familiar with it, if this is your first time joining me, this is the Mohair Luxe yarn. And it is mohair and wool combination, local to me. This is the summer 2021 batch. So I'm really pleased that I'm going to be able to have this in tomorrow's update. So if you've been looking for this or waiting for this, I know it sold out the last update within, I think it was maybe about 2 hours. It was all sold out. So I do have a lot more this time. So that'll be ready for you. So thank you again for joining me if you've stayed. Hope you're all having a lovely weekend wherever you are, maybe doing some knitting, maybe spending some time in your own garden or outside. And I'm going to sign off because you can probably hear my grandson is playing behind me, and he's ready for me to rejoin the game. So thanks again, everyone, and I will talk to you soon. One last little addition. I mentioned in the video that I would walk up and show you one of my comfrey patches. So this is one of the comfrey patches that I have. So if you're not familiar with comfrey, this plant is probably about, I'd say, well, close to 5 feet tall. This one grows in the corner, just outside my studio window, actually. It has beautiful little flowers. I don't see any bees right now, but often the comfrey is covered with bees. So I will cut this down a couple of times throughout the year, and it'll grow right back up again. So again, thanks for joining me.